Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of VGU Talks. We have a nice conversation about what's happening in the world of games. I'm Dom, the expert of course from VideoGamesUncovered.com, and today we're talking about Dungeon Keeper. Because who doesn't love Dungeon Keeper? It's a fantastic game which we've loved throughout the years and the generations. However, do you remember how Dungeon Keeper is on the iOS and Android phones? Yeah, it's pretty terrible in many ways, but we're not here to bash Dungeon Keeper. Oh no, we're here to discuss recent comments posted by EA saying that they are innovating too much in the industry, causing gamers to be out of the loop, so to say. Let's have a look at what they say in this here. EA is speaking up about this year's mobile Dungeon Keeper reboot. The free-to-play title, which is based on Bullfrog's Dungeon Keeper PC series, was maligned by gamers for having an overly aggressive monetization scheme, which it does. But its struggles have been interpreted differently by EA's mobile boss, Frank Gebauer, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I do apologize if I am not. In an interview with Games Industry International, Gebauer says that the company didn't market the game well enough, and that Mythics, since shuttered by EA, take on the game ultimately deviated too much from the original titles. Okay, so this is what he actually said in quotes in this interview. I think we might have innovated too much, or tried some different things that people just weren't ready for, or frankly, were not in tune with what the brand would have allowed us to do. But wait, before we analyse those quotes, we have more here from EA CEO Andrew Wilson, who spoke more bluntly about it in an interview with Eurogamer, where he admits that EA misjudged the monetization. And he says this: for people who'd grown up playing Dungeon Keeper, there was a disconnect there. He said, in that aspect we didn't walk that line as well as we could have, and that's a shame. Complaints about the title and its promotional materials ultimately led the UK's Advertising Standards Authority to clamp down on use of the word free in relation to the title. EA was found at fault for misleading advertising. As it was the first offence, punishment was simply to cease using the advertising in question. The company is also required to take more extensive measures to communicate the limitations of free gameplay and role of in-app purchasing with regard to speeding up gameplay. So, for those out there that have not played the new Dungeon Keeper on iOS and Android, the main thing you need to know about it is that although it is free to play, it's blatantly pay to win. It's behind so many paywalls, and quite frankly, if you want to get anywhere anytime soon, you're going to have to fork out the dollar. But you're going to be forking out a lot of dollar for a little bit of in-game cash. It just doesn't match up in comparison to other games that are on the same system, which are even completely free-to-play with no pay-to-win options whatsoever. This is a little bit barbaric, to say the least. And if we go back to the quotes, let's analyse this a little bit more, with Gebauer saying, I think we might have innovated too much or tried some different things that people just weren't ready for. It's strange how he does say that and he's not apologising for how the game is delivered. At least Andrew Wilson is kinda apologising and saying about the misjudging of it all. But this is a little bit of a letdown. The head of the mobile division just comes out saying we innovate too much. That's bad, because if you're innovating too much, we want to see the innovation. I didn't know that innovation could mean paywalls. Paywalls have been in mobile games and heck even a few other games from what I've seen for quite a while now. That's not innovative. It's a practice that I'm not a massive fan of. But it's a practice nonetheless, but it's a practice that's been there for ages now, or for a very long period of time. And to say that you've innovated too much in a game which is quite frankly one of the best titles out of the ancient history of Bullfrog, you bring it back, everyone gets on board with the idea, and you give us something like this that just takes Dungeon Keeper and turns it into Dungeon Keeper pay to win. It's like changing Command and Conquer into a free-to-play game. Ooh, too soon. Too soon. But let's put it this way as well. When we're talking about innovation by EA, have they really done anything with innovation? Heck, we saw what they did with SimCity. SimCity was proving to be quite innovative, and it was actually looking to be quite a very good experience. But what let the game down? Having to be permanently online throughout playing the entire game, making its release month completely terrible. Heck, some people were unable to play the game for the entire first month of that game ever being released, causing reviews and critiques to literally come out saying, the game is unplayable, I could not do this, bad score allocated. That was really bad. Now, by all means, I'm not here saying that EA is a bad company. EA has some great franchises behind it. EA know how to do things when the time is right and when the product is right. But when they do things like this, with products that we are catered to, especially if it's the older gamers that have played the elder versions of these games that are looking for a new remastered version or a new rehashed version with some innovative additions. We're not expecting this. This isn't innovative. This is just blatant use of a system which doesn't work, or is very bad at that. At least in my opinion. There you go. That's the opinions I have on what Gibbo has said. As for Andrew Wilson coming out, saying about misjudging the monetization, and for people who'd grown up with Dungeon Keeper, there was a disconnect there. I completely respect Andrew Wilson, okay? He has said a few things about EA in the past that, okay, I've been a little bit 50-50 on. But he's basically came out saying it's a shame that we've had that disconnect between the old school Dungeon Keeper and the new. And in all honesty, Andrew Wilson, thank you for just apologizing there. Just thank you. I'm gonna blatantly say it. I'm gonna say it right now. Dungeon Keeper on iOS and Android is not innovative. It is the blatant use of a franchise to get 100% of your quality funds into their pockets. And I find that completely disgusting. I really friggin' do. And here's hoping that they take this on board, and heck, who knows? Maybe at some point in the future we will actually get a Dungeon Keeper on PC again. Fully remastered, with Horny back of the helm, with no microtransactions, and just a game you can just buy, download on Origin, or get in a box, put it in, and play. Maybe at some point we can get that. Maybe along with another Command and Conquer game, maybe even along with another SimCity. Because who knows, these franchises are there to be worked on again. And by all means, how do we get better as an industry? We look back at our flaws, work on the flaws, to then make a better product. Hence why we give criticism. Hence why there are reviews. Because we want to send the message that if there is something wrong, we're not saying, oh, this is wrong, we hate you because this is wrong. We're saying this is wrong. Go back, have a look at what we've said, and try and make something better in future. Just keep it in mind. That's the main gist. And Andrew Wilson understands that. Who knows where EA's going to go in the future? They have some really cool games coming out later this year and even next year with the franchises that they have, and I'm looking forward to some of those games. So ladies and gentlemen, there you go, another edition of VGU Talks over and done with. But I want to know, what do you think about this whole situation? Do you think EA are truly innovating way too much? Do you think the Dungeon Keeper is actually a really well constructed game? Or do you think that EA just need to take a step back, reanalyze the faults that they have had with these games or any other recent games that haven't done too well, and keep those criticisms into consideration for their foreseeable future? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time for another grueling edition of VGU Talks. I'll see you next time.